Today, we're very grateful to have Pete Buffalohead of the Ponca Nation back. Today, he's going to be sharing a little bit more about the little people. So I'd like to take a minute to visit with you about the little people. The little people is something that there's not a whole lot of, information out there about them. How far back would you say your stories within your tribe was with little people? How far back do they go back, and do they have an origin story? Are they older than us? How far back do you think they go?
I think they go back way back. 1700s in there. Our stories go way back. And a lot of it's oral history on different supernatural beings. We have names for them. In the Poncas, if we have a name for it, we know it exists. We know it's real.
Right.
And we call them Manatnewades, little people. Indadinge, creature of the night for Sasquatch. Wanaches, ghost or spirits, depending on how you use it. We know they're real. We know they exist. There's no need for us to have to witness it ourselves if other people have already witnessed it and they've gone through what their terror was at the moment. We know they're real. We don't question it. We might say, well, I would have did it this way in this situation. Well, you weren't there, and if you did, do you think you could have did it? Good point.
Yeah.
But they're old. We have history on them, but we don't really know their origins, how they came to be. We know they're old. Elemental old. I mean, elementals have been here forever. But they're dormant. Except for southern Oklahoma, they're starting to wake up. But they are just who they are, little people. Our little people are like humans. They look like humans, but 12 inches tall. There's another branch of little people. They're ugly, hideous looking, messy hair, big noses. If you would say along the lines of a goblin, but there are two different types. They're not seen together, and they've always been seen separate, never together. So
they're probably two separate tribes?
Yeah, two separate.
Speculate?
Yeah, beings.
That's interesting. Now, and some of the stories of the people from this area, do you have any where the people have had encounters with them?
Yeah. A child went missing 5-6 years ago. Disappeared for 2 weeks, then reappeared, and he told his story. He was trying to make it home out of the timbers in the evening, saw a bunch of lights in the tree line. When I say lights, they're like the size of softballs, moving orbs. And
Right.
He said he saw them and he was trying to make it home, but didn't make it home. He doesn't remember where he was at. He just remembers doing things for them. And when he was doing it for them, he was being told what to do, how to do it, being forced to do it.
So, how did they force him to do it?
That part, he didn't really go into detail. He just remembers they told him what he had to do, and he did it.
So it was kind of like they kind of had a power over him.
Yes, they were making him do things that he just wanted to go home, but they needed him to do a job. And it was too big for them to do. But he got home, and when he made it home, his parents were happy as can be, grandparents were happy as can be, but he told that story. And they got after him. And he was told you should be home before that sun goes down. You know, don't come in when the sun's just getting ready to go down. No, you need to be out of there like at 4 o'clock, 3:30.
So he let the sun set on him.
Yeah, and they got him.
Hmm.
Um,
How old was he?
I would say at least 14, 15 at the time.
Yeah. So he was a young adult.
Yeah.
Makes sense. They can get a lot of work out of somebody that age.
Exactly. To get a lot of things accomplished.
And he was doing manual labor for him.
Manual labor.
That's
but
interesting.
they fed him, they watered him, they took care of him. Woke up the next day, do another job.
That's interesting. Hear that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was.
Neither do I. They're here. They're close.
Good.
I get a heavy feeling in my chest. It's hard for me to breathe when they get around.
Whatever it was behind me. That woodpecker knocking noise was coming from back there too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're close.
good.
Just to let y'all know, we're in my timbers. Where we're at. We're not at Standing Bear Park. We're in my timbers. This is my area where I have interaction with our Sasquatches. And yeah, they're here.
I just got a whiff of something.
What'd you smell?
I don't know.
Describe the smell. Sweet smell?
No. I don't know what it was. It's gone now. Of course, the wind's not blowing.
It is now. Slightly.
Very, very slightly, but it's...
And it's coming from that way.
I was trying to check and see what direction the wind was going. Well, so the little people can take over you. They can force you to do things. I've heard stories of them making you forget.
Uh-huh.
Has anybody in this area been unfortunate enough to lose their memory? Or
Yeah, my grandfather went through it.
Right.
Probably in the late 40s, mid 40s, somewhere in there. He was farming 15, 16 miles from here. It was getting evening, and then he realized how late it was until it was too late. He remembers turning everything off. He was running back to his truck. He remembers seeing lights, and that's all he remembered. He remembered waking up across the river in a field, leaning up against a stack of, I don't know if it was corn or what it was, but back in the day, you remember back in the day, you used to wind them together and tie them in the middle and stand them up.
Yeah.
He was leaning up against one of those, sleeping. He woke up completely
That's
wet.
a long ways.
Instead of going across the bridge, they made him go through the river. This is in the summer, so it wasn't cold at all or none of that.
I was going to say, that's...
Yeah. But he woke up on the other river, and that was one of his stories he told me.
But he don't remember any of it.
He just remembers seeing the lights and running to the truck. The next thing you know, he remembers waking up over
He
here.
let the sun set on it,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he did.
I'm sorry, that's kind of funny. It's like there's a consistent theme already.
Yeah, you should know better.
That's interesting. So, the lights are the little people.
Uh-huh. They're not always white. They could be red, pink, yellow, green.
So they can... do they transform into that, or is
That's their spiritual appearance. They can go into a physical appearance. The same as Sasquatches. When you see orbs moving through the tops of trees, blues or whites, that's them moving. But when they can also go into a physical, you and me type, looking at each other right now, they can go into a physical.
I see. Huh? But they only do the orb thing. Kind of makes you wonder what the determining factor is for which form they take. I mean, it just It's interesting. I mean, that's probably just a mystery,
I think it would be to move faster through the woods
or more silently.
or silently through the woods.
That would make more sense because if you're not even touching the ground,
Yep.
that'd be kind of interesting. I've seen eye shine before, but I've never seen orbs.
You haven't seen them in the orb form?
No,
Oh man.
no. But I've seen eye shine, and I'm still not sure whether people always want to know: is are the eyes actually emanating light, or is it just reflecting light?
I think it's reflecting light. Just the way a deer does.
Yeah.
The way a dog and a cat does. It reflects it. It doesn't make it, you know.
Yeah. You said you've mentioned before that the Sasquatch get along with the little people.
Yeah.
And they make medicine.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Or
it.
magic, however you want to name it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just fits. Is that where some people say that that's where a lot of the medicine came from originally, but then it was given to people. But originally it came from them and the Sasquatch people.
I think, and I agree with that, because that is on a spiritual level. Back in the old days, Native Americans were extremely spiritual, superstition, you know, all that combined. You had to be open-minded, open-hearted to back then the realities of living with nature.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
It was everywhere. But colonization, manifest destiny,
Right.
that tore up a lot of beliefs. That tore up a lot of our traditions and culture.
Right. Yeah. So a lot was lost there.
Yeah, a lot was lost. And we're still losing it today.